All right. Well, hey, everyone. Welcome back to another season of the HC Conversations podcast. I am Phil.
And I am Paul.
And we are excited to be back. I'm excited to be back. Are you excited to be back?
I am.
This?
It's good to be back to be talking to you guys, although I don't know that we have much to say, but we're going to try.
Yeah, well, amazingly, we don't think we necessarily have that much to say and that anybody listens, but like we've heard from several of you like, oh, when's the podcast coming back? I'm so excited about the podcast coming back. So we're glad that you like it.
Right. So we hope that our content is helpful for you guys as we help to navigate faith.
Yeah, faith and
culture.
Life and culture. And if it's not helpful, sorry. We try, kind of. I think that's an important disclaimer. Like, we put some effort into this. We put some thought into this, but not, like, a ton. You know, we're not, like, researching for hours or days before this. This is, like, the amalgamation of things that we've heard, we've read, we've listened to, and we're going to talk about it. It's like just a conversation. Because quite honestly, we have other things to do during the week. Right. You know, there's like administrative stuff, and there's sermons to write, and there's people to talk to, and like there's your job, and we got family, and so it's like, yeah.
But this season of the podcast is the most planned out season ever. We've got it in a spreadsheet. We know the topics. It's assigned to a month. We at least have that. It's the follow through that's going to be.
You say that, and they're going to have this picture like, wow, it's so planned out. But like, the qualifier is it is the most planned out so far, and the other ones weren't planned out at all. So it's a very, very low bar. And so like, we have a spreadsheet. It's like, yeah, there are literally like 8 lines or something.
There's 10. There's 10 lines. Okay, one's
10.
a header.
One's a header, and then 9 months of this month we're gonna talk about this, and this.
But then we've got 1, 2, 3 columns. So we've got the topic. We've got a description of the topic, and then we have the month assignment. So
yeah, it's great. It's great. And just because we're just big children, we're sitting here. Recording the first HC Conversations podcast, and you may think, oh man, Paul and Phil, they love coffee, they're drinking coffee. We're drinking chocolate milk. Because it's brain fuel.
Yes, it is. It does the body good.
Yeah.
It's good for sports recovery.
It is.
All that.
It is.
But I will say, it's not the good chocolate milk.
I mean,
like, I used to think that Smith's chocolate milk was, like, really good.
It's good until you had...
And then I had heart slurs.
Heart slurs. Out of a glass bottle.
That's so good.
Yeah. You wonder why we're drinking chocolate milk is because we had it in the fridge for our student Bible study that takes place on Wednesday mornings here at the church. And, the date was going to come due before this next Wednesday. So, sacrifices had to be made, and now we have to drink chocolate milk. What a shame.
It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Suffering for the Lord. That's what we're doing. All right, so enough shenanigans, tomfoolery.
So before we dive into our topic for the day, for this season, what happened since we saw you last? Not since
Are you talking to me? Because you see me like
audience,
multiple times a week.
It's been 4-ish months since our last
when did we do our last
podcast.
one? April or May? Okay. So what's happened for me? Summer happened.
Yeah. That's about it.
We don't do much this year. We didn't really go anywhere. Kind of every other summer we'll kind of take a little bit of a bigger vacation. Like next year we're going to Hilton Head. This year we went to Gettysburg for a couple days, so that was fun because I'm like a history person, and our son is as well. So did that. Just chilled. Went to Tennessee with a bunch of high school students. That was a great week. Swam a lot this summer. That's about it, pretty low key, a little laid back. Mm-hmm. That was it for me. No big like life, things happened for me. How about you, Paul?
Me on the
What's happened for you, buddy?
Well, so we did go on vacation, but that was in May, so it was like right before summer actually started.
Like, right.
And it was before Memorial Day, before it really got busy.
That's not even vacation season.
That was pretty nice.
That was real nice.
Summer was just typical summer, playing outside, garden, and then August came and baby came too.
Oh yeah.
Baby on August 1st, and little Selah's doing well now and getting her chubby cheeks back. And
that's great to hear. Because you know what they say, a baby changes everything.
Yeah, it does.
It does. But you and Jacoby, you're just seasoned vets now, right? As a number.
We got this baby thing.
This is number 3.
In the bag.
First, the first one you're kind of like, oh, baby, this is all these adjustments, and then you have another one, and it's like, okay,
Baby.
we know what to do. We know what to do.
Been there, done that already.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's cool. That's
things are
exciting.
Yeah, things are going well.
Yeah. And I don't know if our viewing audience knows this or not. Some of them do. I know that. But the Snyder family is on the hunt for a minivan.
Hey, we got 2 that we're potentially going to look at.
Okay, so I know, like, when you officially become a minivan owner, you have to let the podcast audience know that, because it's a big milestone moment in hashtag dad life.
Right now, the debate is over one that's a little bit newer, but we're not buying new by any means. A little bit newer with higher mileage, more expensive, or an older van, like 2008.
Oh, okay.
With like 70,000 miles.
Woo!
Good price. You can tell it was an old person that had it.
Yeah. That's
Grandma van.
Hey, it's all right.
So we'll see.
I mean,
So it's already 3 years older than our current vehicle, so we don't know if we want to go back in time. But I mean, price is right, mileage is right. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. When you said you were looking at an older van, I was really hoping you were going to say, like a 1996 like Chevy Astro van. I had an aunt and uncle that had like an Astro van, with like the curtains and everything inside of it was like this maroon color.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
had one of those. It had a little TV like in the center console for the back seat.
Oh, those were the days.
But no, we need to find a van because currently my truck is the family vehicle, and which is fine. I don't mind driving Trudy. The Escape.
Yeah.
All 3 car seats don't fit in that vehicle. However, Judah and Shiloh are next to each other and facing, like, because Judah's rear facing, Shiloh's front facing.
Staring at each other.
So they just like, if you're like stopped for any length of time, Judah just starts bothering Shiloh. Like, he'll put his foot on her. He's pulled her hair a couple times.
Oh my
he
gosh!
Like, tries to hit her with his stuffed animal, whatever stuffed animal it is. Then it's the cat game, or it's the dog game, or whatever stuffed animal that's with him that day. So
wow.
So we have to find a van to stop that.
Save the children.
Just to stop the screaming.
Or at least if they're screaming in the van, they're further away from you, so it's not as loud in your ear, right? You know? It's win-win. It's win-win. All right.
So all that to get into our topic.
All of that to have absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about. But hey, this is what the people come for.
That's right.
Right. What are we talking about this season
of
the HC Conversations
season,
podcast?
What was it, season 2? Unofficially, like season 3.
I mean, I don't think we've ever really called it a season before, but we are now. We're doing this in seasons and taking a break over the summer so that we can be more prepared. Mm-hmm. So yes.
So we are talking about the topic of deconstruction.
Ooh.
This entire season. So we're going to just go down through like common reasons why people deconstruct their faith.
Yeah. I think it might be good to provide, before we get into why people deconstruct, what is deconstruction? Because some people might be like, I don't know what the heck that is.
Go ahead and enlighten us, Phil.
I don't want to. No, I'm just kidding.
You've got your definition in front of you.
Well, this definition is like, a 3-page long article. And that's one of the things about deconstruction. It is kind of it's not a well-defined thing. But here's the long and short of things. The idea or term of deconstruction arrives from the French philosopher Jacques Derrida. One of the people very responsible for kind of postmodern thinking, like as we conceive it in our modern world, this idea that there really is no such thing as truth or absolute truth, that everything's just kind of relative. Like there's no objective truth that you can discover or find out. And so he really developed the idea of deconstruction as it relates to language, that anything that a philosopher or somebody of the past, anything that they said was just a construction of their own personal thoughts or beliefs about things, that you can't actually figure out what was true. And so what you got to do is just deconstruct their ideas and their words and pull it apart and see what they thought about something, even though you'll never really be able to arrive at the truth of what they thought, because there is no such thing as truth. So that was kind of where it originated, and I probably just butchered that because, again, I've got pages and pages and pages here. And I'm not even going to reference that because there's not that much for our purposes in it. That was just more for my benefit. I don't know why. But essentially then that's taken on a broader cultural context where we are deconstructing like everything in terms of like our traditional institutions and thoughts and ways of viewing the world and like the ideas that have been handed down to us, kind of questioning those things and saying, what are the constructs of that? How do we arrive at that? Let's begin to tear that apart piece by piece. And so whether that be, it's major in the faith conversation right now, the faith that was handed to me, why do I believe this? Let me start picking it and tearing it apart, whether those be roles in government or family structure or sexuality, all these different things of like, let's begin to things that honestly have kind of been foundational kind of pillars of human societies for quite a long time. And now we're saying, well, there's really no such thing as truth. So let me kind of start picking at that now and tearing it down. It is what it sounds like, although it is a little misleading. So it's happening in the faith world as well, specifically within evangelical Christianity. We would consider ourselves to be evangelical in a more like traditional sense of the word in terms of like from a theological perspective, but it's become very, very political, right, cultural. That's a conversation for a different day. But lots of evangelical Christians, lots of Gen Xers mostly, and millennials. So people right now, 30 to 50, we'll roughly say, have been into this deconstruction movement. Not so much Gen Z, because they're a generation past now. They're like, we're not deconstructing faith. A lot of Gen Z never had faith to begin with. But so we'll just talk about from our perspective, grew up in church, grew up with this faith, and now I'm questioning why I believe these things, and I don't think it's true anymore. So I'm going to start picking this apart piece by piece by piece. So that's deconstruction. However, deconstruction implies that you're going to look at things critically, to pick apart, okay, what's actually true, what is good, what is foundational, and what are other things that actually, in the concept of faith, aren't essential and aren't part of like orthodox Christian teaching. And let me remove all the unnecessary stuff so I can then reconstruct a truer, more biblical, more orthodox, more historical view of the faith. That would be a great thing. That's usually not what's happening, though. Most times when people say deconstruction, now they're kind of referring to deconversion. I disassembled my Christian faith and I never built anything back up. Or we'll go into it with the thinking of, I'm going to start I want to discover what's true, but there's already the automatic thought, but it can't be Christianity. Like, because what if you start looking at the things that you believe to deconstruct it and you found out that, oh no, those were actually true. And so let me build that up, but that usually isn't an option for people. So that's a long way of talking about it. But essentially, for our context, what we're going to talk about over the course of the season are why our younger adults, mostly, again, we're talking about people in their 20s into 30s, up to like 40s and 50s, like that kind of two generations in there. Have they walked away from the faith and say, you'll see like there's trending things all over social media, ex-evangelical. I mean, hashtag ex-evangelical, hashtag deconstruction. Okay, so what's causing that? I talked for a long time. Say wise things, Paul.
I have no wise things to say, Phil. So that's where we're going over this series, and that's what deconstruction is. And historically, deconstruction has been separate from deconversion, although now there seem to be like the same terminology is how people use them. But historically, deconstruction has usually been part of somebody's faith journey where like you were raised in the faith and then you went on a journey to kind of like discover the faith for yourself and kind of reevaluate the basics of the faith with the goal of continuing in the faith and building upon a foundation. Now let's tear everything down and not rebuild anything off that faith. It's truly deconversion now.
Yeah, and I would say for personal experience for both of us, I don't think I would call it deconstruction because of the baggage that comes with that word, but that is a journey that we went through. Yeah. Like we were raised with a particular view of the Christian faith, and like I'll speak at least for myself, it was would be more akin to like a fundamentalist in terms of we view the Bible this way, we think about things this way, the faith happens this way, and it was presented in such a way of like that is the only one true version of Christianity. As we got older, as I got older, it's like I actually went to Bible college, started to study some of these things, started to grow my faith, started to read the Bible, started to hear other voices to go, oh, wait a minute. That's not the only understanding of that. So beginning to build a faith back up that is now like stronger, that is more what we'd say is orthodox in terms of like 2,000 years of church history now says like I'm more in line with a historical Christian position. And so we went through this kind of deconstruction process, air quotes, if that's what you want to call it, but not in terms of what it oftentimes is today, where we did not end up in, progressive Christianity or end up moving away from the Christian faith whatsoever. It's like, nope, we have a strong affirmation of like all the historical creeds and like the beliefs of the church and the view of the scriptures. So, yeah.
So why are we talking about deconstruction?
I don't know. Why don't you tell people that? My phone's blowing up.
All right, so I guess I will. So we're talking about deconstruction because number one, it's a trendy thing right now for people to be talking about, but also we have come across a lot of content on social media, YouTube, from people bashing Christianity and talking about reasons why you should deconvert that really isn't that intelligent. That really doesn't offer. You can tell that they don't understand the side that they're trying to dismantle. That
Right.
They've built a, so to speak, a straw man. If you know what a straw man argument is, they've built a straw man and now they're tearing it down. And so we want to offer a different perspective on some of these issues, a Christian perspective instead of, I don't know, the opposite perspective, non-Christian.
And I think what you find is as you talk about like not understanding or a straw man, there's a lot of emotionalism in the deconstruction conversation. There's a lot of like feeling, and like feelings are legitimate, but it's like they're not everything. And so we're not going to be able to entirely like remove the feelings. They're like, okay, we're trying to be all about logic and stuff, because like no, like, but we're going to try as best we can to say let's pull ourselves away from what we're feeling in this moment and look at some of these conversations.
Yeah, so perhaps you know somebody that's deconstructing or has deconstructed, or maybe that's you right now. So we want to be able to help you either have conversations or ask questions or just understand your own journey better. And so that's where we're going through the rest of this season.
Yeah, don't mind me. We're just off the cuff. This is
time for chocolate milk break.
Yeah, chocolate. We interrupt this program to bring you a chocolate milk break. There's one thing that I wanted to share as it relates to this conversation, and this is and then we'll get into what we're going to talk about over the course of the season, and we'll sign off of here. There's kind of these three areas, and I saw this graphic on Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, and this was a while ago. I screen captured it because I thought it was really good as it relates to this conversation. There's this moment in John's gospel where Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." These kind of three statements that Jesus is the way, he is the truth, he is the life. And it was broken down, this Venn diagram, where the way being what's called orthopraxy, so like right practice, right living. The truth being orthodoxy, right belief, right thinking. And the life being orthopathy, like right feeling, empathy and emotions. And it requires, like solid faith requires all three of those. That if you lose orthodoxy, you lose the truth, right? If you don't, like, belief matters. Like what truths that you believe in, especially as we begin to talk about Christianity, that matters. Like orthopraxy, the way that we live, it's not enough to just believe things, like living it out matters, but then also the orthopathy, like the feelings, the emotion, the way that we love people, that matters too. And within that conversation, a lot of what is heard, because a lot of, like, not all, but a lot of deconstruction, there's a lot of emotion in that. A lot of it stems from people's upbringing in the church, where the church may have been really strong on, hey, we believe the right things. And sometimes it ended there. Sometimes even we believe the right things, and maybe we're even living some of this out. But so often the piece that was missing was the emotional part, the care, the love, the way in which we talk about the truth, the way in which we live out our faith was done void of any kind of compassion. And so many people have been like, well, then I'm out of here, right? And then in the same vein, whenever we talk about deconstruction, and sometimes when people do come back into the faith, one of those three that oftentimes gets lost is then the orthodoxy, right belief. It's like, oh, the emotions, we're going to care about people, yes, and we're going to try to live the way of Jesus. But what really is the way of Jesus, especially in lieu of some cultural conversations. So, yeah.
Right. And also when it comes to deconversion, it seems like, just from what I've heard from other people who have deconverted and had a conversation with some of their family members, and just hearing deconversion stories, that usually when people deconvert, they they don't do the hard work of trying to save their faith. Because it takes work. You have to, if you're going to dismantle your faith, you have to also do the work to understand it. And it doesn't seem like there's a willingness to build anything back, to do the hard work to understand the Christian faith, to understand how to actually like understand the Bible and live it out and apply it. It's just like, nah, that's just too hard. I like what this video I watched that was, a couple minutes long. Yes. I watched, maybe an hour-long lecture on YouTube, and now you're like, I know. That's all I need. I don't need to do any hard work for myself.
Just fascinating to me, because it's like most of the issues that people have, like that leads to a deconversion, they are things that Christians have been like working through, struggling with, questioning for 2,000 years. And there's vast writings from Christians throughout history, from church fathers, from theologians, from scholars, like just working through these things. And I'm like, wow, man, you came to an answer and a conclusion after watching a 37-minute YouTube video that the church has been intelligently and passionately discussing for 2,000 years. You got it in 37 minutes. Good for you. That's a little flippant of me, but it's just like, yeah, like you said, it takes work. So if you're in the midst of a deconstruction journey, like that's great. You should evaluate what you believe and why you believe it. But as you're beginning that process or in that process, the question has to be, am I willing to put the work in and chase down truth wherever it leads, even if it might lead me a lot closer to my originally held beliefs than I had preferred it to.
Right.
Like, are we willing to go there and do that and put that work in?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Not have anything else to say.
Where are we going in this series, Phil?
Oh, you're gonna ask me?
Yeah, you got your spreadsheet open.
Oh, you don't have your? It's because we have a spreadsheet.
Mine closed. I mean, I could reopen it.
Okay. Well, let's see. So far, intro week, got it, nailed it. All right, next month, we're talking about church hurt. Yeah, we're gonna talk about church hurt too first, because that's one of the places where this journey begins for a lot of people. I went to church and people, like, there was some sort of hurt there. The next week, then, kind of piggybacking off of that, evangelical hypocrisy. Right? So yeah, evangelicals are a bunch of hypocrites, and the politics and all that other kind of stuff. The following, month. These are months. We're not doing all these in a row. The next month, we're going to look at teaching, poor teaching in the church, like just bad theology, bad teaching, not setting people up for proper understanding of the faith. Coupled with also, you can't ask questions. So like, well, I'm confused about this, or what about this? Nope, no questions allowed. The next month, I left the faith because of errors in the Bible. We've talked about the Bible some on this podcast before, in church before, but we're gonna give a whole episode to that. Number 8, overwhelming social pressure to be cool. Okay, that's probably not worded the best way, but there is a cultural moment that we are in, and you see this in all kinds of cultural trends throughout history, throughout our lifetime and many people's lifetimes, that things catch on, and all of a sudden lots of people are doing it. Lots of people are doing the deconstruction thing right now, so what about those kind of pressures? Number 9, I left the faith because I just want to have sex. Maybe not that specific. Yes, that specific issue, but also just what we're getting at is kind of the moral regulations of Christianity. Like, you got to tell yourself no, that God has designed for certain things. Number 10, so this would be in April, I believe we're getting to. I left the faith specifically because of the church's stance on LGBTQIA, on and on and on. I don't know all the letters at this point. The LGBTQ, we'll just end it there, conversation. And the final week, or final month, it's a month, not a week, reason for deconstruction. And this wouldn't be a reason that people list, but this is animating a lot of things, that there are actual spiritual forces underneath the scenes working on some of this stuff. So that's where we're going.
Yep, that's where we're going.
Nothing controversial in there.
6, 7 months, 8 months.
8 months. I don't know. Yeah, 8 months. Because there was 9 total. Today was.
That's right. Today's month 1.
Yeah, because then we're off for June, July, August.
All right. Well,
we know the calendar and can do math.
Sort of. So don't look to us for our math skills, but come back next month for our HC Conversation podcast, where we talk about deconstruction and really truly dive into church hurt, and everything that comes along with that. So,
all right.
We'll see you next month. Thanks for joining us.